Hello again guys, and welcome to this video. Before we get started, I feel like I should explain away the weird lighting conditions within this video. I recently upgraded my lighting, and because I've been busy faffing about with them for the entirety of this video, you're going to see some really bright parts and some really dull parts. You know, I apologise. It also shows you a really bad wax bloom about halfway through the video, which I didn't notice until it was too late, but I do correct it when I reposition my lights and it goes away. If you don't know what a wax bloom is, it's where you've added layers and layers and layers and you're left with a greasy oily film on top, and if your lighting is in a certain position it doesn't look good, it doesn't look great at all, but it is fixable, and for my next video I will show you how I eliminate this problem. Okay, so that's out of the way. I can get on to telling you why and how I decided to draw a rainbow Lorikeet. I came across this reference photo and I fell in love with it straight away. It's right up my street really, of the oversaturated colours. He looks evil. There's an underlayer of jet black under his feathers, and he looked like it would be a challenge for me. I love finding reference photos where I haven't got a clue how I'm going to draw them. I decided to do the blue feathers in 3 stages because that's where I wanted the main bulk of the detail to be. I wanted to draw your eye to that section, and I went in with 3 colours to start off with. That was black, dark indigo and sapphire, and these 3 colours, they worked really well together in blocking out the main bulk of the feathers, like the underlayer, before I came in with the second layer, which was going to be light aqua and then an ocean blue drawn on top of the light aqua to give me this really amazing bright blue that I was looking for. The third stage, which I decided to do after I drew in the beak for some unknown reason, is done a bit differently, and it requires using a scalpel. In between all the blocked out feathers there are tiny thin feathers connecting all the other feathers together. So what I did was, and I've done this in previous videos where I showed you how to draw hair with a scalpel, I scraped out all the lines that I needed in between, and then I drew some light aqua over the top of the scrapes and some white, and blended them all in together. If this is done properly, your drawing can look extremely detailed by the time it's done, but you can't actually see that right now because I've decided to draw this in a very weird way. This is very early stage in the drawing, and I thought to myself that I wasn't really too sure how I was going to do it until I got to that stage. His beak is definitely the easiest part of the entire drawing, and that's mainly because I've already done it before. In the previous video to this one where I showed you how to draw a flame, it's exactly the same method as that. I used a flame orange of all the reds to create contrast, and then Mars black to create depth, and by the time I was done his beak looked like it was on fire. It's a great little tutorial that I did, so if you're curious on how to draw fire, a flame or even a bright orange beak, go ahead and watch that video. There are useful tips within that video. I thought the green feathers on the back of his head looked kind of fluffy in a way, so I thought I would just block down the colours and blend them in with a colourless blender as much as I could, and then I started to pull in that black over the top of what I'd just drawn to kind of blend it into the front of the face, very similar to how I would draw hair or fur. And like I promised, here is that wax bloom, mainly centralised around the eye and the back of the head, trying its best to ruin my artwork, but I promise you anything is fixable, and I do fix it. Mainly with the magic of repositioned lighting and video editing, it is now gone. His breast was all red, kind of fluffy like the back of his head, but with little added bits of detail. So I drew it in the same way using the colour Scarlet, Derwent Red, Strawberry, also Flame to brighten up certain parts. The parts where I'm dividing the bigger feathers, that's black, mixed in with a bit of scarlet. And his wing was green again, so it's basically the same as what I did with his breast, but in green. And I used basil, I think it's called peridot green. There's some crazy names like I've mentioned before. Pine black and Mars black, I think. Which led me nicely onto the background, which I wasn't too sure how I was going to do it, because I wanted a black and green colour scheme, and because I was drawing it on Bristol Vellum, I knew that getting it that smooth with the Derwent Lightfast would be quite hard. And it was in the end. I did try the black into the pine, then I was putting basil on. It was too many layers, so I basically decided to get my old pastels out and did a black and green pastel background, then used the black Derwent crayon to blend the portrait into the background, and it worked really well. And as you can see from the finished piece, it's a very striking bird. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and comment, and thank you very much for watching.